For today's guest, we have an experienced web developer for 14 years and is now working as a software engineer and is also a young dad of two kids. Please welcome Deo Viray. Hi, Deo. How are you?
Hello, Earl. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, 14 years, that is actually an impressive feat because not all people in that position could really stay that long. So let's track from the very beginning. What made you decide to take the path of being a web developer?
I think the best part of my career it's on these years now, like 5 years. The 10 years can be said that it's just a minor experience, but now it's more on climbing the highest peak of the mountain. And yeah, so to answer your question, back when I was still in university, my first love is creating a website. When I see
Mhm.
website, there's always a question on my mind. How did they do that? What are the things I need to learn in order to be good like them who create a website. My schoolmates are really good in creating, and at the same time while they are studying, they are working as web developer already. They create WordPress
Mm.
websites. Oh yes, amazing. I don't know what to say before. So every day I'm just learning. It's hard really because even though I'm in the university, I still don't know also where to start.
So at what point did you finally know where you're going to start?
A lot of studying, a lot of research. At the same time, I also research what are the trends in the job websites. I list them down and see what are the common technologies that they use. When I knew that, I filtered that out. I got the answer. I started to study those. So I spend my time every day. I see to it. I wake up at 5 a.m. I always remember my aunt said, don't review at night because your brain is already tired. Review every morning because your brain is rested and fresh. So I did that every day. I wake up 5 a.m. I prayed first, then I study. Not only study, I really focus. That's very important. I have a notes also. Even though that notes it's not very useful to others, but only for me, I just see to it. I jot down anything that stand out in what I'm studying. So at the end of the day, it's like, oh, what did I learn? So I just go on that and read the notes that I taken. Then I explain it to myself, and that's it. And repetition also. It's not because lack of experience. If you have experience, you code every day. I need to code everything. Even though I know it already, I wrote a code like how many lines, 50 lines. And when I create mistake, I repeat it on the top. That's how I do. So meaning to say I'm creating a muscle memory, not only on my hands, but also on my brain. What's next? What's next?
So what specific technology is this?
So I started in HTML and CSS and at the same time JavaScript.
Mhm.
So I believe always I can like jump into learning a framework, but I'm a believer that you must learn the basics first before you proceed to the medium part or the hard part of the coding. So that's what I believe. So when I know the basic, when I see a code that is written by a experienced developer, I can explain to myself that, oh, this is what it does. But when I jump to things like intermediate topics already, so I don't know the basic and I still need to research what those things are. So that's it.
You mentioned that in your years of experience for 14 years, the first few years you were minor and then you just climbed to the climax of your career. So take us through that journey and why it took you so long to be into that climax of the career.
Because before I was afraid of the change, I was afraid to take gamble, to take a risk. Like for example, when you just graduated and you want to make a living and there's an offer and it's a good offer because it's in the government and it's a good way to start because you're already in the government because some other but not all are not given that kind of opportunity and I was given. So I take that. Even though you already know being a web developer, even though I'm in the government, it's not full time that you do web development. It's more on like a database manager, things like that. And I was like that before. I left it. Then I have a long break. Then I help with the little business that we have. I was watering the plant that day, if I remember it correctly. I said to myself, I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to like spending my time with the things that I don't like or I don't really love to do. I opened my laptop and research on YouTube. So I started there, but I didn't get the answer there. So I researched about PHP, but PHP it's not for me during that time. Then I went back to the part that where I love to do, which is to create a website, to create a web application. And that's where it started. I've been on the social media following developers, following groups. Then I saw one post. I asked that developer, it's from the other country. Where did you learn that? And he said, I learned it from here, from this teacher, or how do you call that in online? Then I went to that website, it's Udemy. I bought a course from there. I don't know how because I don't have any credit cards.
Oh,
I don't
online
know.
online
Yeah,
courses, you
on
mean?
online courses. Yes, I mean online courses. So how can I buy this? I really like it. I don't know how to buy. So I was researching online. Is there any credit card that you can put money, then you can spend? Then I find a way, then I bought it. So it was like 40 hours. I do it every day, like 1 hour, maximum of 1 hour. Then I think that's it. When I do that, so, oh, nice. I'm learning new things and I start to love it. Then after that, after I finish that course, I bought again. Every time I have money, it's like I'm going to a shopping place. When I go to that website, I look for the things that I want to buy. And I bought the things that I know I can learn. I have my wife already and I'm asking her if we have money, if someone gave to us, like, hey, I like this course. Can we buy this one? And she was very supportive and he let me buy a lot of courses I bought. It's through support from my wife also. I cannot do that alone because without her support, you spend your time alone. There are a lot of things you do also in the house. She does it while I'm studying.
It's like it never left you. It's like being part of you.
Yes, that's correct. It's true because maybe we can call it I'm destined to be like this because even though I left that job, I didn't pursue when I first have a chance to be a developer because when I was in the government, I also applied in Manila. Then I was hired already. They liked me, but I refused. Then after a month, they called me again because the manager said that they should call me for that position, but I already refused. So I don't know. It's like my dream to become a developer. It's like chasing me also, but at the same time, I'm refusing it because I think I'm not ready. And before also, just to mention, Earl, I have a friend who works as a developer also, but I don't believe in remote jobs before. I like more on a physical job. So
On
he
site.
was like telling me, hey, you can do it remotely. I tried, but it didn't work for me.
And as we all know, the pandemic came.
Yes, that's correct. During pandemic, I wish I have a job, like a remote job before. But I did. In the middle of pandemic, I had a job, but I was a scam on that job.
Oh, really?
So, yes, I thought that was a great opportunity for me to begin. But after 1 month, all the things that I have done, all of a sudden, the employer ran. So it was a heartbreak for me because it's also a month before the delivery of my second child.
It's a good thing that you're in a better place now because from your previous employer that you got scammed, you are now in a better position where you're guided well, you're mentored well, you're being assisted well. This is a transition for you that you have been a web developer from the previous years and then you have turned yourself to become a software engineer. Software engineer is you do actual coding. This being a web developer is you just define the layouts of the web pages. How was that transition like?
It was a very good experience. The transition was difficult at first, but because I love also to study things that I'm not familiar with, at the same time, it's really a good chance for me also to like, when you start and you want to gain that experience and you are applying to that position, but you don't have experience, so they don't get you. But here, they give me a chance to do those things that I don't know. At the same time, I'm studying. That's hard at first, really. And the plus points of that, it's because of the support of the company and also for the support of my fellow software engineers who guided me and helped me to grow.
That's a great thing to hear, Deo. So, just to give an understanding, how is a day in a life of a software engineer?
Oh, that's a really good question. For me, it's like when you are solving a problem and you cannot solve it, the first thing you do in the morning is to turn on your computer and go back again and see what's happening on that code until you solve it every day. As a software engineer, I just wake up in the morning, I prayed, I read my Bible, then I code. I started reading first comments on the things that I'm doing on my PR. That's the first thing I do. But before I go into the next day, what I'm currently doing is I plan the next day, what I'm going to do the following day. So that's what I'm doing every day. The reason it's I also have a two child. My first, he is studying. I also need to balance my time and also adjust the meetings that I have. So for example, I have meetings and I cannot go. I tell right away to my wife so that he knows already what to do. And yeah, just like that, it's more on balancing and more on planning. That's important, planning, because not all the time you code. You also need to have a time to sit down and analyze and plan what are you going to do.
I think that's well said. How do you maintain that balance between work and your family? Because being a software engineer is actually demanding. And it's also stressful because you need to study a lot, you need to debug a lot, and you also need to work on everything to make sure that the system that you're helping to work should be at its best quality.
It's more on a time management. Without time management, I don't know how can I survive, because you need to go to school, you need to work, but also at the same time, because I teach my wife how to drive, it also helps a lot because I can stay at home. And I really feel blessed, to be honest, because when I was in this company that I'm working on, I asked because it was during pandemic when I was hired. And I said, because I'm the only boy or man in the family who can really go out, go to the market, buy things that we need. Because before, they limit one person each family to go to the market. And there is also a schedule for that. So I asked if there is a flexibility on my work, and they said, yes, you can do that. And I was like, oh, really? How can you refuse this kind of job that makes a balance in your life and gives you opportunity to work at the same time, look for your family?
I think it does well for you professionally. So let's go to the other side of you balancing your life. As a dad, what kind of dad are you to your sons?
It's a good question, Earl. I'm a dad who is like a little boy who loves to
Really?
play with my son. Yes. Maybe this is the best job that I have, being a dad. And if you compare it being a software developer and a dad, for me, I choose to be that because God has given you an opportunity to look for a two boy and so like you. And that's my happiness. I said to myself before, Lord, I don't know where to go, but I want to have a child. If you're giving me, I'll do my best to take care of them. And I'm a strict dad sometimes, but my heart is softened whenever they are in my side. Like, hey, dad, can you please buy me this? Can we please do this? When they said things like that, I don't know how can I refuse to say no. And sometimes my wife is jealous at them because
They have
you
more attention
always,
than her.
yes, that's correct. I always do it for them. So I think I need to improve on that part to also balance my attention to my kids and also to my wife. But maybe my wife's just kidding me or
She
don't
might
know.
mean it for real.
Yeah, he meant it for real.
So, since you mentioned about having God as central in your life when it comes to your family life and also in your work life, how does your faith in God help you?
It's a big help. Or when you are in the point that you really wanted something to change, but you are just a human, and being a human, you are limited to the things that you can do. It's more on God help me in giving the right direction for my life. for my family, and for the career that I chose. Sometimes you can dream of a career, but it's not aligned with the purpose of God in your life. So you will go in the other direction. But for me, I think my purpose is to be a software engineer. And I can see that the Lord has the same purpose on me. So I feel blessed
What has being a software engineer made you become?
to stay humble, to treat people nicely, to be a dreamer, to innovate things. Sometimes I said to myself, if I am going to change something in our house, I am thinking like developer's way. How can I improve our life? And what other things that I learned? To focus on the things that are important as of the moment. And everything you do, do your best. Don't be afraid to be creative, even though it might create a mistake, but just do it. You might learn something from there.
I like those ones, Deo, and I'm glad that you have brought with them along the way as you are continuing to grow in your path. I can sense in you that you're scared a bit, but you still have some courage left to forward on. And what turned out is you were able to be in the career you are now. I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you, Earl.
What can you say to individuals who are planning to take the route to become a software engineer?
It's more on being able to know what are the things you need to learn and when you need to use it. Because when I started learning again as a developer, the hardest part for me is what should I learn first? I work in a government. At the same time, I was studying also programming again during that time. But in that time, there's a lot of new things and I don't know where to start. I spend 1 year or more than a year to be able to know where to start and also to gain confidence because you are not only starting, but you are also competing with experienced developers that are using the new technology. Unlike you, I have to create a portfolio in order to showcase what I can do. So when you know those things, when you have answer to those questions, I guess it's going to be a continuous flow. Be consistent, first of all. If you don't know the technologies in the market now, you need to study that. And you should be consistent every day. Study, study. Not only study, you should apply it every day. Like I said, it's more on repetition also. You need to also build the muscle memory and also improve how you think, improve the way you analyze a problem, how you solve. Those things are important. It's not impossible to be a software engineer. It's possible, but for me, it needs consistency and, of course, dedication. Because in this kind of job, you can do two things. One, it's just finish the job. Number two, it's you finish the job and you do it 100%. At the end of the day, the output of what you have done is the reflection of who you are. So when they see that you did great things, they know that you really do a great job. But if not, you fail on that part.
What can you say to those dads like you who are trying to make a balancing act between doing their job and taking care of their kids and taking care of their family as well?
Just enjoy because not every day or not all the time your kids are like that. The time will come that you don't need to look at them all the time. So just enjoy, even though sometimes it's annoying because they are asking for you, or you are in the meeting and they are asking for you. Or sometimes you are in the middle of meditation and they call you. What you are thinking is already erased because you are distracted. Things like that, but just enjoy because those things are temporary. And once they are already in their teenagers, you cannot turn the time around and go back to where it is. At least you have a memory that, even though it's annoying, it's a good memories.
You've come so far, but you're still so far. So you still have a long way to go. Your mindset and your attitude display through that. So to wrap this up, what wakes you up early in the morning?
What wakes me up? You mean the time, or you mean
What can make you wake up in the morning and say, this is going to be another day. I'm going to make this day matter and I'm going to live it to the fullest.
it's for the family, for my family. So I wake up every day for my family. When I pray every morning, I always thank God. There's an opportunity again for me to become a father, to become a husband, and to do the purpose that God has given me. You know, sometimes when you don't have purpose and you wake up in the morning, you feel sad, or maybe you're still in the bed because you don't have things to do or purpose to do or direction. But when you have that purpose in life, that wakes you up and that makes you go. So even though life has been tough, but still here fighting.
Thank you very much, Deo, for your time.
Thank you, Earl. I'm glad to be here.